Good morning. It's a national holiday here today. It's their Independence Day. So I think tonight there's a possibility we might have a little symposium. Up in Kaufland, they have a big jug of wine for 11 and a half euro, I think. 11 and a half lev. 11 and a half lev. So that's 5 litres of wine for 11 and a half for lev. It's 51% off. And I think I'll acquire one of those for the weekend, for tonight, or maybe just for tonight, to have a symposium. Yeah, the American Girl Recognised Symposium is where we all get drunk and shout over each other, but that's not quite what it's supposed to be, even though that's what it often turns out to be. It's a night of music and entertainment and some intellectual debate. Of course, there will be refreshments served. There will be refreshments served, but it's not. You're not supposed to make a pig of yourself. 5 litres of wine is enough for any man. you know. But that's tonight anyway. Free music in town as well, so I'm quite looking forward to that. I was well rested, but I had a few drinks last night. I'm always doing that. I always like to wind into the party. I always like to kick the party off early, so I kicked it off early last night. And I was a little shaky getting up, but I'm not too bad now. I've had one cup of coffee and I'm on the second. I was going to talk about, yeah, I was going to talk about understanding people. Yeah, trying not to judge, trying not to judge because it's very natural to judge, and of course there has to be an initial standoff point while you suspend judgment until such time as you've established some facts and you've tried to understand the person. But that's to say, then when there's a judgment of character, like you have to, as I always say, that when people say, "Oh, I trusted you," and this is no, whoa, now a second. To trust me is to expect me to conduct myself in a certain manner. I said, but what that's down to you. I said, I said, that's down to you. I said, there has to be a judgment of character on your part, and if I don't, if you get that wrong, I said, that's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. The judgment of character is on you. And I said, and if you went and unburdened yourself or whatever on me for your own, for whatever you like yourself, I said, that's on you. It's not on me. But once there's a judgment of character, and well, then it's on you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's but that's why I said there has to be a judgment of character, and then you choose. Well, you can take it or leave it after that. It's not it. You can take them or leave them after that. But usually I take everyone. Well, you don't learn anything from running from anything or anyone, do you? You know what I mean? You don't learn anything. You don't. Like, the way I see it is everybody's in my life for a reason. Everybody's put my way for a reason. And if you're going to start running from everything, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that. As I said to you, universe says to me, who gives a fuck what you like? Who gives a fuck what you like? You know what I mean? So you just say to yourself, you run from nothing. I run from no event. I run from no person. I run from nothing. I run from nothing. I accept everything and embrace everything and enjoy the experience, yeah, because if nothing else, you need contrast in life, you know what I mean? You never get your path, but that's through your own choices, but not to run from anything is a choice. You know what I mean? Not to run from anything is a choice, to embrace everything, accept everything. And it's a thing of not seeking pleasure or avoiding pain. Now, I know you can say, well, why are you going to Kaufland to buy 5 litres of wine? But sure, a man has to be prepared. There might be no music. Well, there is music because they've put the stage up in the middle of town. I'm only going off. But I didn't seek this out. This is coming to me. The very same as the people who walk through the door, this is coming to me. So as I say about the wine, it's better to be looking at and looking for it. Even if I don't drink it tonight, it'd be good to have it in the fridge for 11 fucking lev. I'm usually a beer man, but wine it is. But in seeking to understand people, I told you the Dr. Grease, the suppose, the Stoic expert, who's emailed me the other day with the €159 course. Did I tell you, Rob, we're on to the next elevated product. There's been one more to come. There'll be one more, if the model is right, if she's followed, which we is following that model, there'll be one more to come, which will be a much more expensive model, which will be a much more expensive course. But right now we're on the €159 course. And she emailed me the other day. So let's not judge the wonderful woman who I'm sure has my best interest at heart, and seek to understand her. Well, her father's a CEO in the bank, so that'd be the first thing. So because she told us this, I had to watch some of her free content. And her father's a CEO, because I'm just trying to establish the facts. We don't want to be judging anybody, we just want to establish the facts and seek to understand her. So, well, her father's a CEO in the bank. So, like everybody, she's genetically disposed to a way of thinking. And then she'd have a certain nurture, so she was brought up in a certain environment which would impact on her way of thinking. But the first thing I want to say is we're genetically disposed to a way of thinking. This is our nature. We all have genes. We all have a gene code, which is the blueprint for our for our growth and development. Our gene code is our blueprint for our code and development. And you can't change this. You cannot change your genes. Now, I've said this at some symposiums, and of course they all pounce at me and say, well, I changed. You can't change your nature. You can't change your nature. You just can't. That's why alcoholics can have relapses, because you can't change your nature, but you can change your values in relation to your nature. You can change the choices in relation to your nature. But we'll be disposed, genetically disposed to a way of thinking. That's why sometimes alcoholics say to me, oh, I'm an alcoholic, my father was an alcoholic, my grandfather was an alcoholic, it's a genetic disease. It's not a genetic disease. It's a genetic coping mechanism. It's a genetic way of thinking. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And really, unless you want to change the way that you think, which is within your control, not only to establish your own values and define your own morality, but you can actually, this is what I was saying, you will not solve your problems with the same thinking as what caused them. So you actually have to change the way that you think. You have to change the way that you perceive life. And again, this is the purpose of philosophy. It's to change the way that you look at the world. It's to change the way you see the world. It's to seek to understand nature, which is what people don't do, because they want to see things as they want to see themselves as separate from nature, separate from me, separate from everybody else, when in actual fact you're fucking not. And if you can understand this, then you can begin to understand nature, and then we can get into dialectics, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. But if you really want to understand nature, let me think for a moment. This is understanding nature. Transformation, dialectics. This is Engels' rules of dialectics, which I think are absolutely fabulous and a way of understanding nature. So this would be transformation of quantity into quality, interpenetration of the opposites. So you first of all have to understand the opposites, and then there's an interpenetration of the opposites, and negation of the negation. Now, I'm not going to go into it now, but you can just dwell on that for a while. That's the 3 rules of dialectics, Engels' 3 rules of dialectics, which I think is fabulous, really fabulous. But I'll come back on that again and explain it in more depth at a later time, because I want to talk about Dr. Grease and understanding Dr. Grease. So she's genetically disposed to a way of thinking. So basically, yeah, okay. We can understand that. If her father's a CEO in the bank and she's raised in a certain environment, she would be genetically exposed to a way of thinking. So now we can start to understand what that way is. When she's emailing me, I'm sure out of concern for my mental well-being, but I'm in no way, I don't know why she's targeting me. I'm not in any way, well, I'm sure those would disagree that I don't suffer from any mental health issues, but I assure you I'm not suffering from any mental health issues. I'm not suffering from depression, I'm not suffering from anxiety. I don't feel my wheels are spinning and I have fear of missing out or any of the rest of that bullshit. You know, you understand? Like I'm not the prey that she's looking for. But But basically, my point is that it would appear that she's hankering after money, which will cause a lot of these issues. If, like, for example, there was a lad last night. I never look at the views on this podcast, but there was a lad last night looking at the podcast and he said, 4 views, 3 views on this one, 10 views on this one, and more or less saying, like, I don't know why you bother your arse. But as I said to you, that's not the reason. I'm not chasing money. I get up and I do my work, and money is a preferred and different. Now, she's made some free content, was it the day before yesterday? And she said, what you wants you. So stay motivated and stay focused and stay seeking what you want. You know what I mean? But I left a comment and I said, is it not Stoic teaching to want nothing? You know what I mean? Is it to want nothing? These desires and aversions, I said, is this not the cause of all these things that you're seeking to all the misery that you're seeking to alleviate? This is Stoic 101. But see, people seem to have a problem grasping this concept of wanting fucking nothing. You know what I mean? They want nothing. Now, I have things to do, but I focus on what is within my control. So, for example, when my soul says to me at 5 o'clock in the morning, get up out of fucking bed, especially after I had a few drinks last night, get up out of fucking bed, go do your work. Go do your duty nature. I can stay in that fucking bed. That is a choice. Or I can get up and I can do my duty nature, which is what this is. And then I go about my business. I'll clean the hostel. I'll make me a few beds. I'll chat to some people. I'll drink and drinking wine tonight is a part of that. As tonight's symposium is a part of that. Going up there, being offered wine by the universe, thank you very much, is a part of that. I will drink that wine and I will talk philosophy for the next 3 days. And that is a part of my duty to nature, believe it or not. But anyway. We'll go back to the good doctor. So basically what I'm trying to say is she's preying on people, convincing them that they've mental health issues. Well, maybe they have mental health issues, but she's labeling and using all these psychology labels and labels and everything else to label their way of thinking. But what they actually need is a different way of thinking. They don't need to be told they're depressed. I may get off this because my battery's going. They don't need to be told they're depressed. They need a different way of thinking. But it starts with your desires and aversions. If you want to start finding what the problem is, you want to start identifying the cause, start with your desires, your aversions, and your intent. Because this is the baseline. Desires, aversions, and intent. And I'm going to play a song today which relates to your desires and will show you how your desires can enslave you. I'm playing Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, for those who don't have the Facebook page. But this is just another example of exactly how your desires will enslave you. Good morning.